really have a feeling that the under 5 minutes part is once he gets all of this contraption built and the supports built. I would hazard a guess that with all this cutting and placing, he might be closer to, I don't know, probably an hour on getting this post out of the ground. What is up, Fence fam? Joe Everest, your fence expert. If you follow the channel for any length of time, you know what we're up to. Jeremy has gone out and scoured the YouTube lands in search of interesting fence videos that he thinks that you guys would like to watch and that I would like to comment on. Let's do that. All right, guys, as you can see, the title for this video is the easiest way to remove a fence post in under 5 minutes. If you guys would like to watch this video in its entirety without my commentary, we'll leave that link below. The channel is Mountain Fencing and Gardens. Already off to a good start. I am excited to see which method he uses to remove this fence post. We're all looking for an easier way to remove fence posts. That's always the biggest part of the removal.
Hi there guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to remove an entire fence post in one go, including the concrete. And
sounds like another friend from over in the UK. Says accent sounds familiar to or similar to the guys over at D&J Projects that I watch a lot, based over in Nottingham. So I tell you what, these UK fence guys are up to a thing or two.
In under 5 minutes. I will be using a special tool to remove the posts, but I'll also show you at the end of the video how you can use a tool that most people have lying around the house. So stick around till the end to find out what.
.co.uk. So he is a fencing
Hey guys, I'm
fan
James
from
and
the
welcome
UK.
to my channel, Mountain Fencing Home and Garden. I've been a fencing contractor for many years now and I've removed a lot of fence posts. But in my personal opinion, this is absolutely the easiest way to remove a fence post. But if you have any ingenious ideas or contraptions...
Now keep this in mind, from watching the videos of the D&J guys and other fence guys there in the UK, the mini skid equipment that we use here in the States doesn't seem to be as prominently used in the UK, probably because their yards are quite a bit smaller than what we'd see here in the States. I would think the easiest way to remove this would be to use a mini skid, whether it's a Dingo or a Bobcat or Vermeer. Everyone has their own opinion on those, and I really feel like that's kind of more of a Ford, Chevy, Ram conversation. But anyway, mini skid would probably be the easiest way, but if you couldn't use equipment, this might be a good way too.
that you think are better than what I'm about to show you right now, then please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear how you guys do it at home, and I'm always looking to improve. Okay, so I've got these 3 concrete fence posts in my garden. I was going to build a wood store here, but I've decided to make the garden a bit more...
Another note, he's dealing with concrete posts, so that is absolutely a thing over in the UK. Really sturdy, really strong. These posts look like they're in good shape. But so some of the tricks that we would use to remove a wood post wouldn't necessarily apply to these concrete posts.
Child friendly. What we're going to be using to do it is this bad boy. It's a farming jack, 48 inch. It can take 3 tons of weight.
Now we've seen a method with this jack already once. I did a review, probably mid last year. We'll see how this one goes. That one was a bit cumbersome, maybe, the previous method. So I'm kind of excited to see where this method goes. We'll also see what safety gear he wears, because the #1 comment in the previous video about these jacks is they can be pretty unsafe. The main thing is that arm has a real tendency to kick back and can catch you pretty unawares.
And essentially what we're going to be doing is pulling the posts out of the ground. So the first thing you're going to need is obviously a jack, a few bolts, a couple of lengths of 2x4, and a good sturdy platform to start the jack off on.
What I'm using for the platform is this old piece of oak sleeper that I had laying around in the garden. Obviously you can use whatever you have available to you. You could use some bricks for the feet, but I suggest using something strong for the base, because that's going to take a lot of the weight. I'm cutting the feet at 30 centimeters in length and then the main base at 90 centimeters length.
So, one guy's opinion, right, is that this might be a pretty lengthy way to get to a easy fence post install. The process might be easy, but it seems like a little bit of prep work is involved in this rather than just digging the thing out.
Now the reason for the platform is you could try using the jack straight from the ground, but if you can imagine, there's going to be a big ball of concrete around the bottom of the fence post. We're going to need...
That was also one of the top pieces of feedback with the last system is he had placed the jack on the ground, and that was kind of the concern there is, well, that will work right until that jack settles onto that concrete plug around the post, and then it's just not going to go anywhere. It's going to be fighting against itself. So it's good to see him kind of address that early.
To get the jack tight up against this post, so as you start to pull the post out, the concrete that's sitting around the bottom of the post is going to then be pushing up against the bottom of the jack, and it's just not really going to work.
So as I said earlier, you're going to need 2 lengths of 2x4. These are going to be attached to the jack to form a tripod to prevent the jack from leaning over as you're jacking the post out of the ground. If you're working straight from the ground instead of off a platform, you need to cut the 2x4s just slightly longer than the jack itself. But as I'm working around...
I really have a feeling that the under 5 minutes part is once he gets all of this contraption built and the supports built. I would hazard a guess that with all this cutting and placing, he might be closer to, I don't know, probably an hour on getting this post out of the ground. But I guess a fair point, a counterpoint to that statement, though, is you only have to cut and build this once, right? So if you were doing this repeatedly over and over, the structure, you'd already have it. So maybe it is a 5 minute or under 5 minute solution for the second post and every subsequent post after that.
40 centimeters off the ground, I need to add another 40 centimeters onto the length of these 2x4s.
You're also going to need a big chunky piece of timber. This is a 4-inch post. I've drilled 2 holes through it that are going to take the M12 bolts. The holes I've drilled are 13 mil. You want it nice and tight in this because this and the bolts are going to be taking all the force. Also with the 2x4s that you've cut, ignore this hole here, but you need to drill a 10 mil hole to take the bolt, and this is going to act as the tripod for the jack. Okay, first things first is you want to set up your platform. If you can imagine, there's going to be probably an 8-inch round chunk of concrete in the ground here. So you want to set your legs at least sort of 12 inches apart. Just put one on either side of the post.
So it's interesting to hear folks use both metric and imperial together. You know, I catch a lot of flack from, maybe not a lot of flack, but I catch flack from our fans abroad about using the imperial system because it is out of date or out of touch with the rest of the world or whatever the comments would like to suggest. So it's interesting, as always, to hear other contractors outside the United States also use imperial measurements.
And then your platform on top, tight up against the post.
Well, I'm not blessed for space here, so I'm working from the back to the front. It would probably be easier for you to work from the front to the back, feeding the bolts through. But you need to obviously feed the bolts through the post. If you haven't got these handy little holes in the post, you can obviously just drill the concrete post out, or if it's fitting to a wooden post, drill 13 mil bolt holes through the post. Fit some nice big washers on there, and you want to make sure that these nuts are tightened as tight as they can go.
First impression, it seems like a lot of work to avoid digging this post out.
So this is what you should have set up. You've got your platform, which is going to leave enough space underneath there to allow the concrete to be pulled up out of the ground. Got your jack tight up against the post, piece of wood bolted to the post, either the concrete or the wooden post. And then you got these two pieces of 2x4 timber just loosely bolted at the top here, just to support the jack as you're jacking the post out of the ground. Firstly, you need to engage the jack to allow you to lift it up, which is you just pull this piece of metal up, and now every time you pump the handle.
I'm sure it's because this is for demonstration, but that is an incredibly clean jack. I haven't seen a jack that clean in quite a while.
It's gonna just bring that jack incrementally further up. Okay, so let's start to try and lift this bad boy out. These obviously can be adjusted. Of this platform now, so okay, once it's under pressure.
So the safety concern here with these jacks, he calls it a farm jack, or it could also be called a utility jack or an off-road jack. They've got, seems like a bunch of different names. The problem is, as he was pushing that to bring the post up, his face was directly over that bar, and most of the safety concerns of this piece is that bar, so it doesn't click into that next spot up, into that next safety spot up, and that bar then, if it doesn't click, then the bar has all this weight, and it comes back into the face of that, whoever's using it. These tools can be incredibly dangerous. So a more safer position might be, behind this bar, where basically keeping the arc of that arm clear, so that if it were to bounce back, it wouldn't come directly into your face. It could be a pretty dangerous tool if you don't know what you're doing with it.
You just need to bring the jack back up, disengage, drop it down, move the jack out the way. Jack back up, engage, and then keep jacking.
So you can see that the point further illustrated here is that arm goes all the way up to the post. So like I said, if that were to miss that next safety spot or that grabbing point and that comes up, his face could take the brunt of that if he's not careful.
Okay, you can see it's pulling the concrete post out of the ground plus the plug of concrete that was in there. Once you get to about probably 6 inches or 8 inches probably to a foot, you can then literally just pull this out. Now this is going to be heavy to put out. Let's just say a few prayers for my back before I go. And there you go, after a little bit of effort, it's taken.
It really doesn't seem like there's a lot of concrete around that post. So the standard would be twice the diameter of the post is the diameter of your hole as a good solid starting point, 30 inches in depth. Just going by just purely looking at this, it doesn't seem like that's nearly enough concrete to keep that thing in the ground. But different places have different regulations and rules of thumb for what works for them in their market. Like I said, what do you think about the amount of concrete on this post? Let me know.
Pulled that post completely out, including the concrete, leaving you with a nice hole that you can just put another post into. Now that tool that I told you about at the beginning of the video that everybody should probably have at home, and that is a car jack. Works in exactly the same principle as the farming jack. Of course, you're not going to have as much power on this or the range, but it should work. So let's give it a go.
That's an interesting car jack. Kind of the same issues though, right? So this one's actually probably more safe than using that utility jack or the farm jack. There's no real concern that jack could come back and harm him. But is this easier or faster than just digging out next to the post and leaning it over? Maybe not. We also did a video a little while ago just showing kind of 3 common methods here in the States that we would use. I think we might link that above somewhere. Do some YouTube magic to link that together. But I don't know.
Okay, let's see. It's pulled it out of the ground, but I don't think it's pulled the concrete out. It worked.
Well, it seems to wrap it up. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's a lot of work to try to avoid digging that post out of the ground. But maybe sometimes digging next to the post and leaning it over or bringing equipment into the yard just isn't feasible. Maybe a solid plan C or plan D if all else fails. Let me know what you guys think. How would you guys go about pulling these posts out of the ground? What do you think about the process that Mountain Fencing and Gardens has come up with? Sure like to know. Like I said, if you'd like to watch their video in its entirety without the commentary, we've got it linked below. All right, everybody, that wraps up another reaction video. I think we call these Joe Everest Reacts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you have done it differently? Would you have reacted differently? I always love interacting with you guys in the comments, so leave me one down below, and I'll respond. Until next time, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. And I'll see you next time.